Good evening, and welcome to this week's episode of the Paranormal Lens podcast, sponsored and presented by Jotnix Paranormal. I'm Jamie Widener. That's Chad Thomas and Kirstin Truccano. I'm sure you can tell which one's which, probably.
Are you sure?
Kirstin's the one with the beard.
Yeah.
Wait, no, never mind. That's the other guy. You never know, right? Why not? Oh my gosh, guys, how you doing? It's been a week already. What's going on?
Go ahead, Kirstin.
It's been a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do tell if you wish. I think I know why, but
Just a lot of family issues. But I think it's in the past now. I think I'm good to move forward, and hopefully that family member can do the same.
okay.
Cool. Yeah. Mine's been the same thing, Jamie. Set construction, beginning to move into rehearsals, and trip to Littlestown to see my dad. Same
theater,
thing.
Theater, dad. Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So and work.
3 more weeks till showtime.
Something like that. Yeah, it's coming up.
Quick. Well,
March 12th is our opening night.
3-ish weeks. The week before spring starts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So many good things to look forward to. This is a production of The Music Man coming up at Widener High School. So anybody in the South Central PA area, welcome to come join in. Catch this wonderful production.
Yep. How about you, Jamie? What's your week been like?
It was a blur, so I guess that's good. Nothing spooky for sure. It's been a lull. We all came out of Hanover Tavern Paracon, and we don't have anything on the horizon right now. Like there's no plan. And well, I kind of do, I guess, but in March, but not sure whether I can do it or not yet. But something I'm only even going to talk about it yet. But hopefully something good. But we're kind of in that gap of the end of winter where nothing's really open, right? A lot of places don't have heat, don't have, access to the season, for season access. So, we're in between, and kind of starting to look forward to what we are going to do later in the year. So we're just in limbo, I guess.
Hey, one thing we didn't talk about, Jamie, is at the Hanover Paracon, you were a big winner. You entered a raffle.
Well, I didn't want to talk about that's what I was trying to say. Well, we got something coming up.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess it's out of the bag now. So like all good fundraising events, and the Paracon was a fundraiser for the tavern's foundation to keep things, the upkeep and maintenance and operations running. There were a lot of really cool things in there in a raffle. A ticketed kind of thing, buy a bunch of tickets. So I invested in the tavern. I'll say it that way. Not expecting to win anything, but I did. And I will show you this. I won an investigation to the Dunlora Inn. It's a private investigation for up to 10 people. So I've got to coordinate that sometime soonish. And get back down, and it's right around the northern Richmond area as well, so not too far from the tavern, maybe 20 minutes. And a favorite of the Transcend Paranormal team there as well. Steve and the group all talk highly of it, so I'm very happy to have won. The other prizes were cool too, but this was one of the ones I really would have liked to have had. So I'm glad we did.
And I've driven by it. It's before. It's an interesting looking building. So
yeah. I've done a little research, just quick stuff, and obviously I think we'll have to have an episode when we get booked and scheduled in.
Yeah.
But we'll adjust that in. But and certainly like a pre and post like we normally do when we go do an investigation somewhere. So more to come. But yeah, it's got to get done. So and it will get done. We'll get there.
Well, sorry.
Now we got to find 9 friends. Wow.
That's going to be hard.
I know, right? For me, especially. Well, you didn't make the list. Sorry, Kirstin.
Darn. All right, you guys tell me how that goes.
Yeah. I think you'll make the list. I'm waiting for your essay though.
I'll review
actually,
your application. I have to do the essay. Is it on the book?
Anyway, we digress.
Terribly. So we're actually here for an episode. So I'll cut to that. How's that? We'll segue. Uh, so it's cryptid time
I
again.
think you have a friend here, Jamie, volunteering.
Ah, oh, all right. So let's see. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through the things here as well. All right, there we go. So cryptid time once again, because that's part of what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Anybody out there in the world like cryptids?
They're all right.
Well, like a 1 to 10 scale, they're like a 7.
I mean, this
Yeah,
is from
I'd
the
say
person
6.
who loves Mothman.
I know, right?
Listen, Mothman is great.
I had a look at that. The Lynches are my friends. Yeah. See, that's how you do it. All right, I'll wait for their applications and essays as well. Then
Great.
submit to the usual source. You know, I ran into well, all right. I'm sorry. I'm going to get my thought back here. We're going to talk tonight about the Loveland Frogman. Okay.
Okay.
And let's start that first slide. I don't have many slides tonight, so we're kind of keep it basic. But where are we in the world? So that's where I always start our episode. So we are in Loveland, Ohio, which is in the southwest corner, about 30 minutes from downtown Cincinnati to the northeast, right off I-475. I've been there. I go to Cincinnati quite frequently. The company I work for, the business that I represent, is based in Cincinnati, so I get to go to the home office there, and go get back and forth at least once a year, sometimes more. And in the last trip we got to go through, I went through Loveland, and what a quaint little town. It's a cool place. But because I get to go to Cincinnati, and we're doing this episode that's fairly close by, I was talking to some of the folks who are at the organization, and I said, we're going to do Loveland. And they're like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 the Frogman, this and that. And then it professed, one of the kids, their family's professed love of the Mothman. I said, oh my gosh, we did an episode on that recently too. And they're like, I must be behind. So shame, right? Shame, but in a good way. Everybody's busy, and I understand. That's why the benefit of streaming services gets you there whenever you're ready for it. So
Right.
I'm sure they will. But it is interesting, when a community has a cryptid, right? We have the advantage of having one here in the Albtwitch, in our very close proximity here in South Central PA, in the Columbia, PA area, or along the Susquehanna River. So, we've got some familiarity with this kind of a story. But this one's a little unique. So I think we should dive into it.
Okay.
So, again, we're Loveland, Ohio, southwest corner. All right. Let's take a look at some images. So if you're going to have a hometown monster, for lack of a better term, you might as well make it memorable. Some towns get a blurry Bigfoot, others get a moody lake serpent, but Loveland, Ohio, Loveland gets a frog. Not just any frog, mind you. A humanoid, wand-wielding, I said wand-wielding, possibly spell-casting frogman who may or may not have been once mistaken as an escaped iguana. Welcome to the strange, squishy, and surprisingly enduring legend of the Loveland Frogman. Over the decades, this amphibious enigma has hopped through local folklore, paranormal investigations, late-night radio shows, and the imaginations of curious Midwesterners. He's been described as 3 to 4 feet tall, standing upright like a tiny swamp butler, with leathery skin and bulging eyes. In one version of the story, he even carries a wand that shoots sparks. Yes, Chad, sparks.
Cool.
So, let's take a leap into legend. Our story begins in 1955 along a lonely stretch of road near the Little Miami River in Loveland, Ohio. A traveling businessman, often described as respectable, sober, and presumably not prone to amphibian hallucinations, reported seeing something unusual late at night. There, under the glow of his headlights, he claimed to witness 3 small humanoid creatures gathered by the roadside. They were about 3 to 4 feet tall, with frog-like faces and wrinkled skin. And one of them, according to the tale, held a wand. As the witness watched in astonishment, the frogman allegedly raised the wand and emitted a spray of sparks. Sparks on a roadside in Ohio. Why not? Now, you can imagine how this story went over. Some people were intrigued, others were skeptical, and a few probably just nodded and said, "Yep, that tracks for Ohio." But the seed had been planted, and the frogman had entered the local mythology. For nearly 2 decades, the frogman seemed content to lie low. Perhaps he was busy. Maybe he was hibernating. Perhaps he was taking a break for wand maintenance. Who knows? Then in 1972, he made a comeback. This time, the witnesses weren't traveling salesmen, they were police officers. Respectable fellows. In the March of that year, Officer Ray Shockey reported seeing a large, frog-like creature crouched by the side of the river on Riverside Drive. He described it as roughly 3 to 4 feet tall with leathery skin. Sounds familiar. When illuminated by his headlights, the creature allegedly stood upright, stared at him with glowing eyes, and then scrambled over a guardrail toward the river. 2 weeks later, another officer, Mark Matthews, reported seeing something similar in the same area. Now here's where things get delightfully complicated. Years later, Officer Matthews suggested what they saw might have been a large iguana, possibly someone's escaped pet. Iguanas, when startled, can rear up on their hind legs. In low light, they might look, unusual. And thus, the frogman's legend gained its first official plot twist. Is it a cryptid or just a cold-blooded runaway? Legends are funny things. They don't require certainty. In fact, they thrive on ambiguity. The Loveland Frogman exists in the perfect sweet spot because plausible misidentification and delightful impossibility. He isn't terrifying in the way some cryptids are. He's not dragging people into swamps or flattening campers' tents. He's just there. A little strange, a little magical, possibly a little sparkly. Unlike Bigfoot, who stomps around the Pacific Northwest like a hairy celebrity avoiding the paparazzi, the frogman feels local, intimate, neighborly. He doesn't dominate forests. He hangs out by rivers. He's less apex predator and more amphibious oddity. And that charm is part of what keeps the legend alive. To understand the frogman, we have to talk about cryptids in general. Cryptids are creatures whose existence hasn't been proven by mainstream science, but which persists in folklore and eyewitness accounts. Think Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, the Mothman. They occupy a curious space between myth and possibility. The Loveland Frogman fits comfortably into this category. He's not supported by physical evidence. No scales collected, no footprints cast in plaster, no frog-sized wizard hats recovered from the scene. But he is supported by stories, and stories, especially shared ones, are powerful. Cryptids often emerge in places where nature brushes against civilization. The Little Miami River area is lush, wooded, and just remote enough to feel mysterious at night. Add a flicker of headlights, the distortion of shadows, and a dash of imagination, and suddenly the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Is it possible someone saw a large amphibian or reptile and their brain filled in the rest? Of course. Is it also possible that something weird and unexplained briefly stepped into view and then slipped back into the dark? Well, that's a lot more fun. The Loveland Frogman has occasionally been swept up into broader discussions of hauntings and paranormal phenomenon. While he's not technically a ghost, his appearances share a similar vibe: brief, eerie encounters in liminal spaces. He shows up at night. He vanishes quickly. He leaves behind more questions than answers. In that sense, he's less a biological mystery and more of a folkloric one. Some paranormal enthusiasts speculate that the frogman could be something other than a physical creature, perhaps an interdimensional being, a spirit of the river, or even a trickster entity. After all, what's with the wand and sparks? That detail feels less zoological and more theatrical. But folklore is often theatrical. When people try to make sense of the unexplained, the mind reaches for symbols. A wand represents power. Sparks represent magic. A frog, long associated with transformation in fairy tales, represents change. Maybe the frogman isn't just a creature. Maybe he's a story about transformation in a small Ohio town. Or maybe he's just a frog who really enjoys dramatic flair. Who knows? Over time, the Frogman has found a home in books, podcasts like ours, paranormal guides, and twisted compilations of unexplained phenomena. He's become a larger tapestry of American weirdness. And what a tapestry it is. America's folklore is a patchwork quilt of regional oddities. New Jersey has the Jersey Devil, West Virginia has the Flatwoods Monster and the Mothman. Ohio now apparently has the Frog Wizard. There's something uniquely charming about that. The Frogman doesn't feel sinister, he feels quirky. He's the kind of cryptid who might politely nod before hopping away. He's the indie film of monsters, low budget, mysterious, and slightly artsy. In a world filled with grim news and digital overload, a story about a frog standing upright and possibly casting sparkly spells feels refreshingly whimsical. But no legend survives without debate. Skeptics point to the iguana explanation. It's reasonable. In the 1970s, exotic pets were becoming more common. An escaped iguana near a riverbank isn't impossible. Add darkness and surprise, and suddenly you've got yourself a frogman. Believers, however, counter with details: the upright stance, the glowing eyes, the repeated sightings in the same area. And then there's the 1955 wand incident. Iguanas are many things, but accomplished pyrotechnicians they are not. Ultimately, the debate may be beside the point. The Loveland Frogman isn't compelling because he's provable. He's compelling because he lingers in that delicious gray area between probably not, but what if? And that's where the best legends live. So let's zoom out for a moment. Why does a small town amphibian capture our imagination for decades? Part of it is scale. The Frogman isn't world ending. He's not apocalyptic. He's local. He belongs to Loveland. Local legend gives communities identity. They turn ordinary landscapes into story-rich terrain. A quiet riverbank becomes a place of possibility. A stretch of road becomes legendary. Imagine driving through Loveland at night. You pass the river. The trees rustle. Your headlights sweep across the guardrail. For just a split second, you wonder. That spark of wonder is worth something. Over the years, the Loveland Frogman has hopped into documentaries, podcasts, YouTube, deep dives, and even fictional retellings. He's become a minor celebrity in the cryptid community. And like any good celebrity, his story evolves. In some versions, he's more monstrous. In others, more magical. In a few, almost adorable. The flexibility of the legend keeps it alive. Each retelling adds a layer. Each witness account tweaks the details. The Frogman is less a fixed creature and more a collaborative story. He belongs to anyone who wants to imagine him. So what is the Loveland Frogman really? Well, he could be a misidentified animal, a trick of light, a prank that spiraled into folklore, a genuinely unexplained creature, or a symbol of how stories take root and grow. But perhaps the better question is, what does he represent? He represents curiosity. He represents the thrill of the unknown. He represents that childlike moment when you look into the dark and feel the world expand, just a little. In an age of satellite imagery and scientific explanations, it's comforting to know that there's still room for a frogman. Loveland, Ohio may be the first place that comes to, may not, sorry, be the first place that comes to mind when you think of legendary creatures, but that's part of the magic. The Loveland Frogman doesn't demand belief. He invites imagination. He stands 3 to 4 feet tall, possibly holding a wand, at the crossroads between skepticism and wonder. He reminds us that even along an ordinary river in the Midwest, something strange might be waiting, or at least something delightfully weird. And honestly, the world could use more delightfully weird these days. So the next time you're near a quiet stretch of road by a river, keep your eyes open. Watch the guardrails. Listen for a soft splash. You probably won't see a humanoid frog casting sparks into the night, but it's nice to know that in Loveland, Ohio, you just might. And if you do, be polite. After all, he was there first. Let me cite some sources and we'll discuss. allthat'sinteresting.com/Loveland-Frogman, NorthAmericanCryptids.com/Loveland-Frogman, americasmosthaunted.com/2025/03/18, The Case for the Cryptids, The Loveland Frogman, Basement of the Bazaar /2025/03/02/Loveland Frogman, Legend Ohio Cryptid, and lastly, strangeandtwisted.com/blogs, The Loveland Frogman Edition. One thing about this is that it hasn't ended, right? It started in 1955, and there's a component to this that is very much like what we're used to here with our little guy, the Albatwitch.
Mm-hmm.
There's a festival, and it's coming up. So, #road trip.
Yes.
On March 7th, the Loveland Frogman Festival is a day event of lots of different speakers, lots of vendors, kind of what you'd expect, things that you normally find at these kind of fun things.
Mm-hmm.
And you might just find a few folks dressed as a humanoid frog. So, gotta love it. All right, guys, I've talked here. So what do you think?
Oh, it's fun. It's definitely,
Yeah.
it sounds like a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I don't know that it's one that I'm going to put a lot of faith into as actually paranormal. But I like the story. It's definitely, it's cool. So,
Well, what I've, we'll go back to folklore, right? Because that's really where we are.
Right.
And I wish Jeff and Sean were in this conversation as well, because I think they'd love this. Our friends at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
But the story doesn't have. It has a foundation in the sense that there was a 1955 encounter.
Right.
But if first of all, a traveling salesman going down the road at midnight, okay, seems a little late for 1955 to be out and about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is he? There's no name. Couldn't find him. Couldn't find a guy. So if it was a truly credible source and it was a truly documented thing, this should be somewhere where we know who it is. But it isn't.
It's just a random salesman.
Just a random salesman who is by account, an upright guy. He was sober, and so forth as he was described in the incident there, but in the onset. But it doesn't give you that person. Now the 72 stories with the police officers, there are names because they had to file reports. There's physical documents.
Right. But it didn't say that the police officers were sober, like it said the salesman. I'm just pointing that out, Jamie.
Well, okay, fair enough. I mean, they might be listening, so let's be cool about that at some point. Now, I have to trust they are.
Yeah,
they're on duty and all that. As we should expect. But I have driven. We had dinner in Loveland,
mm-hmm.
and driving back, out toward the highway, I find myself along the river on a dark stretch of road, and it's woody and you get out of the town pretty quick. Loveland's like 13,000 people. It's not a big place. It's just far enough away from Cincinnati that it's not part of the the metro hub that it is, or kind of is anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a suburb directly. So you get into the sticks pretty quickly, and I could see how something could happen out there. It's like here. You go 10 minutes out of our your bigger community, and then all of a sudden you're out in the woods and you're out in the fields, and it's civilization, but it's not direct. So I can see how something could be out there, and would have enough terrain to be an anonymity that it wouldn't have to come into community a lot or be seen a lot. But there were 3 of them in the original story.
Mm-hmm.
And only one perhaps in the other 2. So what happened to the other 2 guys?
Good question.
Curious question.
So, Kirstin, do you have any thoughts? I didn't mean to dominate the conversation here.
No, you're fine. I honestly did not know about the Loveland Frogman. I mean, I've heard the name once. I never actually fully looked in to what he is, what it is. Very like I kind of like that it's a frog wizard. I'm not gonna lie, that makes this thing sound so much cooler. Um, would I like to believe that there is some wand wielding frog out in the middle of Ohio? I would love to believe that. Is it an actual thing? I no. No, I think it's falling into like the folklore tales of almost seems like it would be something that would like be told to kids to keep them out of the woods. Like, don't go into the woods or the
Yeah, but
frogman's gonna get you.
the Frogman's cool. He's got wizard stuff. That would make me want to go into the woods.
I think
You
I'd be
know
in the
what?
woods.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, same.
I do want to say Heather said had the same thought. Never heard of the Loveland Frogman. I didn't look him up because I was waiting for you to educate me on it.
Yeah, I heard the name. I like to like watch like the random like video countdowns of like, here's this weird paranormal thing. Do you think it's real or not? And the one video actually had it was like an audio of someone that called from Loveland, Ohio, of this like creature that jumped into the back of the truck and was describing what looked like a large humanoid frog. Again, it was like a countdown video of is it real or is it fake? So
Right.
it was the first time I heard of the Frogman, and I'm like, huh, that's interesting, and just never looked it up.
So, I want to go through a couple other comments that came in during the show, Jamie.
Sure.
Bert said he just got stuck in that stage of evolution.
Sure.
Possibility.
Maybe.
I'm gonna bring the pictures back up before I bring this next comment up.
I love this comment.
With hiney cheeks like that, he is definitely friendly and magical.
True that.
And then Bert said, "Are you sure it's not Jiminy Cricket?"
I
Is that
think
how Disney got their inspiration?
yeah, we have to tread lightly here. We might get sued. Careful. Accusations. You know, maybe. I kind of like the idea though. They talked about the whole transformation thing, like frogs kissing the frog, kind of thing, and all the take it into the Disney world. Then the whole prince princess thing, but the transformative consideration. So maybe the frog casting a spell turned the other two into people instead. That's why there haven't been the other two seen again, or any of them seen. He spelled himself. I don't know. And the idea that it could be an interdimensional being, and we talked about this before in the Mount Shasta episode with Bigfoot. Because he kind of comes and goes, and why is there never a true sighting of Bigfoot? Especially with all of the people out trekking the woods, on the regular, and then there's a lot of programs as well, of course, doing this. But he comes and goes as needed, perhaps.
Right.
Same with the Mothman. He appears prior to catastrophes. Is he a harbinger, or is there some power, in this pending thing that pulls him in to be present prior to? So maybe there's something in this for all the cryptids. That again, Loch Ness Monster. We can go through all of the lakes that have cryptids in it. Kind of thing. We've covered a few already, but Ogopogo and Chessie here in our area with the Chesapeake Bay, and then a few others. But it is that a thought? Maybe. What do you guys?
Well, I mean, the other thing is I'm going to take it a step further, and maybe it's an alien with a sparkly wand.
Get out!
Come on, could be. Like
Yes.
Okay.
I've been listening to some interesting books this week, and part of it's when I was talking about aliens and things, and it could be. There's
Certainly.
So
I would like to believe there is some amphibian-like alien out there with wands, just wandering around the woods of Ohio.
Yep.
That is what they're doing in their time right now.
Well, that's a wrap. Where else can you go after that?
Exactly.
I don't know.
So,
It's deep.
but it's you bring all joking aside, you bring up a good point. It could be interdimensional, it could be alien.
Oh my! This comment, Heather, could be. Most aliens don't wear pants.
And this is coming from the person who doesn't like aliens. So Heather, could you get behind an amphibious alien with a sparkly wand?
This could be your in.
But hear me out. He could have picked up the pants from someone's house. Like, they could have had their laundry out, and he went, "Those look cool." Pants.
This one's just going way down the rabbit hole.
Now we have to check police records in Loveland for like stolen clothes in all of 1955 because we don't know when it was. Yeah, this is not wrong. This is absolutely not wrong.
If you want to hide among the strange, you go to Ohio. Not disparaging any of our Ohio friends out there, but
there it is. We finally found the in for Heather. Yes, he is adorable. Aliens aren't so bad after all. Maybe. Stefan has a great point. I almost bought one for the episode. There are quite a few.
He said, "I've seen a few T-shirts for sale with a wizard frog with a wand. I don't remember it referring to Loveland though. So,
yeah,
maybe
there could be more than one." Oh, this explains a lot. Bert says his family's from Ohio. All right.
And Heather's backing it up. So cool. Well, I think we can sort of all agree on this one that it's more folklore. I can't say it. We can agree on it. I can't say it, but it's more folklore than anything else.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. But the fun of it is that it can spark this kind of a conversation, and that is to me the true wonder of all folklore. It all stories come from something, right? There's always a foundation, some thread of truth that it gets expanded upon. And I've said this here before, but everybody's the hero in their story, right?
Right.
So when you tell it, you want it to be one that people enjoy or find favorable because therefore they connect to you. So every time a story gets told, it's a memory of the story you heard. So the passing on that alone is enough to change it every time. But then the embellishments that people create, for the theatrical. I've talked about the theatricalness of this whole thing. It is that, and it has a place to be so, and that's what folklore allows for. And I think that's really the cool thing about it. And I honestly don't care if it's true or not. I really enjoy the idea of it and the potential that it could be, and I'm good with that. I know it's not, but the reality of me says, yeah, okay, no, but the whimsical side and the what if says, sure, let's do it. Let's go with it.
Right. Bert said it's fun that it's not a big scary creature. So this year we have a folklore story that's not something scary, and I do appreciate that.
Sure.
And Heather then said, "I love how it brings the community together. We need more frogmen in this world.
We do.
It's these little things that communities, like you talked about, gather around and celebrate. And it's the albatwitch, it's the festivals all around the lakes and all those things that it is. Sometimes maybe it's just marketing, but it's great marketing.
Absolutely. There's a festival for Lake Champlain Champ. We did an episode a while back. There's a festival there every summer on the New York side that draws a bunch of people in. Most of these localized things are like it's a community fair. It's a festival.
Right.
You know, they don't take it seriously. Loveland certainly doesn't take it seriously. You know, but it's another way to connect, and it allows people to come in and just have fun for the day.
Right.
You know, and it's interesting. It's always in the daytime, never at night.
Maybe they're out frog hunting at night.
It's a really big net. Really big net.
One really big net.
Uh-huh. So, well, I mean, we could take a road trip to Loveland and like, go look for the frogman at some point.
Good. I know
Road
where to
trip.
go.
I think we'd have to rent a pickup truck to see if it jumped in the back. Just
Fair enough. Right. Fair enough.
I mean, I have a pickup truck, so
well, we're halfway there.
Halfway there. 8 hours later, we got it covered.
So,
hashtag road trip.
yep.
There it is.
So, well, I think this is fun, and I think it's just fun. So, but thank you, Jamie, for pulling this together.
Of course.
I like how you made it the whole episode fun as well. I could tell from the beginning you weren't thinking it was really serious. So.
Nah, I had to have a little whimsy on this one. So, and presenting it straight and stiff would have been about half the time as well.
Right.
So, there's not a lot of facts here.
Right.
There's really 3 encounters spread over 20 years, 25 years, whatnot. And just not a lot of teeth in it, but there is some place to have some grace of fun. So thanks for letting me do it that way.
Of course.
It was very fun.
All right.
I enjoyed it.
Well, then let's move on. Let's see what else we get going on.
All right. Let's see. Coming up, Kirstin, I think you're going to take this week, right?
Yeah. So next week on the 24th, I'm going to be doing the Tower of London, Crowns, Chains, and Ghosts. Decided to take us back over to England for this one.
Okay. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then other upcoming episodes, March 3rd, Where Silence Screams, Kings Park Psychiatric Facility, that is Chad. March 10th, we have No Vacancy for the Living, the Goldfield Hotel with Jamie. March 17th is Echoes in the Halls, The Haunting of the Stanley Hotel. I'm going to be doing that one. And March 24th is the Edinburgh Vaults, Life and Death Undergrounds with Chad again.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, lots of good stuff coming up.
Mm-hmm. And then, anyways, to contact us, you can contact us from jotnix.com. That's www.jot-nixparanormal.com. You can email us. You can email suggestions or anything to the email paranormallenspodcast@gmail.com. You can also go to our link tree, and that is linktr.ee/paranormal lens. Or if you are a fan of the podcast and want to just kind of help us out a little bit, you can also do a Buy Me a Coffee with buymeacoffee.com/paranormal9. Or if you're viewing us, you can actually scan that little QR code.
So cool. Thanks, Kirstin. Bert just put up a comment saying, going to have to watch Edinburgh Vaults. Edinburgh, I can't even say the word yet. We'll be there. So that means I got to get that one right because he's going to fact check me once he's there. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's good to have some reason to keep it straight.
Mm-hmm. Which we always try to do. I mean, we're not making up what we talk about. We are, everything comes from reliable sources. We try to avoid some of those places that are like, you don't know about that.
Yeah. If it's sketchy, just don't use it. There it is. Phonics. Clap it out.
It was Burrow. Anyway. Oh my. Yeah, I think that's a great episode, Jamie. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yeah, got some good stuff coming up. Hopefully, I'm getting the itch to get out there and investigate somewhere.
Absolutely.
Make that happen.
Yeah, we gotta find some stuff. Obviously, well, then Laura's gonna get booked, so we'll get that in. But
Mhm.
otherwise, too, look at the calendar where we can be this year.
Yep.
It's time to plan.
Um, no, not gonna say anything specific yet, but there's another festival in Gettysburg that's happening, paranormal thing that I don't know if we'll be there as a vendor, but I definitely want to check it out. I forget, I don't know the details, but there's some more things happening locally now, which is exciting.
Yeah, it's very cool. Well, that's a point, and like wherever you are in the world, we have listeners everywhere. So thank you first of all for
Mhm.
joining in. But if there is a Paracon or a festival or a gathering of sorts, keep an eye on social media. Obviously, but that's always where they're advertised. But those are days well spent. You have a community of peers, like-minded individuals. You might learn something you didn't know. You might see some equipment you've never tried or know about. You might get a conversation, from a celebrity. A lot of times there are panels and discussion sessions where folks, can enlighten on how they do the things they do or how they got where they are. Those are always good connection points. And
Mhm.
um, I've enjoyed the things that we've been able to get. I've been able to get out and do things we've done too as a
Mhm.
group and a team. And I'd always advocate for it, whatever it is. And of course, it supports a local opportunity as well.
Right.
So
I
get out
mean,
there.
if it weren't for Paracon, we wouldn't know Steve Dills. That's where I first met Steve as a Paracon and made the connection down in Virginia at a Paracon that doesn't even happen anymore. But it was a great connection and one of many that we've made at places like that. And
Yep, that's a really good point. Really
yeah,
good point.
it, that's where this community comes together at events like that.
Yep.
As much as there's infighting in a lot of these teams and things like that, when you come together to a Paracon, it all seems to go away for at least those couple days, and everybody connects and has a good time.
Yeah.
So
But we should all be in the field to support each other. And
exactly.
and have a community that is open and welcome to all. And these are places that get to prove that it does exist.
Yep.
You're absolutely right.
So, well, do we have any other thoughts? I know it's a little short, but there's no point in hanging out just to hang out. So
Sure. No. Hashtag found time. Bam.
found time exactly.
Love
So
that.
all right, well, let me see I got that all lined up. So a 4-foot frog with a wand shooting sparks on the side of the road sounds impossible until multiple witnesses tell the same story. Whether cryptid or clever prank, the Loveland Frogman has earned a place in its paranormal lore. So stay alert, stay respectful, and stay curious. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.